Alright, I'm going to completely wing this, and this is something I should have done from the beginning, because according to everyone, I look unhinged, and it's because I've had to post so many things, because so many people keep coming into the story at different times, and I need to repeat things, and it's very fucking tiring. And then Goob has to go off, and he's being completely biased. You know, he says he doesn't do coaches. I'm a coach. He doesn't do people that don't have 1 million followers or 200,000 followers. I have 4,000. Like, he's being completely biased in this situation. Not only that, he's running a second story on me. Tell me that's not harassment. So I think it's time I just explain the story and let it go as it lies. I posted up all the receipts so people know that what I've said is the truth. And there's really not much more I can do there. But the whole Goob thing has put it into a point where you can't cancel me. I don't care. You know what I mean? I've already gotten 10 more people wanting to hire me as a coach because they saw how good Sonny used to look and now how bad she looks. So I'm not going anywhere. You know, I don't have any complaints from any of my other clients. I don't have any complaints from any of my other girlfriends. I'm sure you're going to hear one from Ariel, and I really don't give a fuck because she's completely fucking whatever too. I'm not even going to talk on her because that was so far again. I'm so proud of her for how she's turned around her life and how she's placing very well now, and she's got a boyfriend and she seems very happy, so good for her. You know what I mean? Like, I really mean that from the bottom of my fucking heart. And I'm really happy for fucking Marissa for fucking actually, you know, picking herself up by her bootstraps and actually kicking into overdrive. And she did that, honestly, probably despite me, and she did it probably despite her sister to beat her sister. You know what? Good fucking for her. She did it. And you know what she did? She did it without putting a bunch of shit in her ass. So, her gear, whatever, they're all running gear. So you can't even knock that. She did a fucking amazing job, and she put together a great fucking package. So anyway, I'm not here to kiss ass. I'm not the one trying to do it all. I respect people when they fucking make me look stupid for what I said. So, hey, good for you. I really honestly mean that. I'm very happy for them. So anyway, to try to figure out where the story starts, Sonny and I started talking. Little stupid comments back and forth on Instagram while I was still dating Ariel. Nothing came of anything because I had a girlfriend, and I don't really go into that kind of shit when I'm dating a girl. But once me and Ariel were broken up after the Arnold, we started to flirt a little bit more. Ariel finally moved out of my house in August because I allowed Ariel to live with me for 6 months because she supposedly couldn't find a place because of COVID. And also her car broke down, so I let her use my car. I let her live there. I let her eat my food, and I only asked her for $500 a month. But she'll somehow turn that around. I'm sure that's Goob's story tomorrow. And that's basically it. She also wrongfully put a restraining order on me, paid for the lawyer to get rid of it, and then begged for me to come back, and then we dated for 2.5 years after that. So that might be part of Goob's story too. I don't know. Nobody's fucking perfect, all right? And just because a girl puts a fucking restraining order on somebody, and if it lasts like a fucking week, who gives a shit, man? People get mad. And she could have punched me in the face. She didn't. I could have punched her. I didn't. Nothing happened. That was it. It was a stupid piece of legal documentation. So anyway, Sonny and I started talking. I joked around with her. She was doing a photo shoot on a video, and she was hugging like a tree or something. I called her a dendrophiliac, which is a person who fucks trees, and that kind of opened up the precedent. So then we started going back and forth, little shit here and there. Then I found out she was married. I had no idea she was married at the time. And I said to her, I was like, well, let me know if you're ever divorced or if I could clone you, joking around. And that was how I was going to end the conversation, to be perfectly honest. I was just trying to end it on a playful way without being like, well, you're married, don't talk to me. And she's like, what happens if you clone me? And I'm like, well, I guess I get the clone. And she goes, well, what if I want to go? And that's kind of where it started. So then basically she told me that she had an open relationship with her husband. She was free to do whatever she wanted because he wanted threesomes. And I was completely blown away already by all of this. That she was the kind of person that was having threesomes with her husband. And then she started to let me know a lot more shit that I'm going to keep private here, but it was a lot of fucked up shit that he did to her. I posted some of it up, but a lot of threesomes, a lot of completely humiliating her type shit, very disgusting type porn shit, very disgusting videos, you know, having a fake Tinder with her picture on it and making girls come to the house, and when she would come home from work, Eric would be sitting there with another girl, and Sonny really just had no idea why. He would then fuck the other girl till Sonny cried, and then like if he ran out of the room crying, he'd come back and like, I had to hurry up and nut in her because you ruined my orgasm. Most fucked up shit I've ever heard. So there's way more than that. So anyway, she told me she kind of wanted to get out of that. And I said, well, you know, if you make the move or you feel like you want to get out of that relationship and you want to come see me or go on a date, let's go on a date. Other than that, I'm here if you ever really need to talk. And I left. That was at her house. And she ended up doing the Daytona MPC show as her first show. She invited me there. I spent 3 days with her there. Jason Lowe and his wife saw us there. We were clearly like dating there. I was not coaching her. Ricardo Payan was coaching her. I told her after that show that she needed to get another coach because what he gave her was a horrible thing, but I really don't want to get any more into that. So me and her hooked up that entire weekend. She went home. We talked completely until Nationals. Nationals, she wouldn't have had a pro card if it wasn't for me. I talked to Gary Udit and Tyler, and I got her waived for the athlete meeting and all that stuff because of her residencies. So she never would have even gotten a pro card if it weren't for me, because they allowed her to walk onto stage Friday morning straight from work, putting on her fucking last eyelash and a high heel just as they were calling her class, and she won. Good for her. So after prejudging, she came on stage, she called me, she asked me to come down to see her. She spent prejudging to the finals with me, even though supposedly I think Eric and her parents were there. I spent that whole time with her, and that's provable if somebody was to go into her Uber app or her Lyft app, and they'll see that she took an Uber to my hotel, and I could post that address, so that's more proof that she was screwing me. And then after that, we went to finals, and then at finals, I was in the back with her. I took a picture with her and her pro card. I was back there with Tristan and his client who won, Emily. She won her pro card the same day. We all remember this. It was very vivid. Tristan knew I was hooking up with her and all that. Sonny gets a text, oh fuck, Eric's here, because he had finally come from Hooters and he was drunk off his ass. So I just left. I went back to my hotel. I was like, fuck, I'm not going to see her, whatever. She calls me 3:30 in the morning and says, are you still here? I was like, yeah, I'm at my hotel sleeping. I wasn't going to leave. She's like, I'm coming over. So she took a fucking Uber to my hotel. Again, she could check that. Came over to my hotel. One thing led to another. You get the hint. And then she had to go to a photo shoot with Gilco. So I drove her to her photo shoot with Gilco. He was shocked as shit that she showed up with me, especially considering he had shot her wedding about a month prior. And she said to him, well, we all have secrets. And so that was Nationals. So then after Nationals, Christmas was coming. She was supposedly going to tell her parents and Eric that she wanted a divorce and move on. So I was leaving to go home to Pennsylvania. So when I was driving through Jacksonville, I asked her if I could stop by the hospital to see her for a minute and drop off her present. She said, sure. I dropped her off her present. A little kiss on the cheek kind of thing, handed her a present, left. Christmas came and went. I talked to Marissa a couple times. We were actually cool then. Wished her a happy new year, all that shit. She told me Sonny went to sleep at 10 o'clock because she was acting weird or something was off, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, she's depressed. She doesn't want to be with Eric. It is what it is. So a couple days go by. Sonny doesn't get back to me till the 6th. She tells me that, you know, she's going to try to work things out with Eric. I'm shortening it. She's going to try to work things out with Eric. And, I pushed back a little bit saying that's stupid after everything you've told me, blah, 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 whatever. The short of it is that she decided to stay with Eric, and I really couldn't do anything about it. Her birthday's in February. His birthday's in February. They went to Steamboat to go snowboarding. The moment she got back from that, she tried to text me a couple times. I think I ignored it or missed it. I'm not really sure. She knew I was competing at the New York Pro in Tampa. She did the Pittsburgh Pro. And then when I saw her in Tampa, she tried to talk to me. I ignored her the first time I saw her, and then I ignored her the second time I saw her. And then finally I was like, you know what? There's no point in ignoring her. There's no point in hating her. I was like, I'll go say something to her. So I walked up to her, whispered in her ear. I was like, look, I got no hard feelings. I was like, I still care for you. You're a great person. At the time, I thought she was an amazing person. And that's it. So, you know, she got all smiley and all that shit, blah, blah, blah. So we both did the show. I placed the worst I've ever placed on a show because I couldn't make weight to save my life. And I finally made weight. By the time I made weight, I could not get it back. She placed 4th or 5th. And at that point in time, she basically had given up. Robert Wellness came in and screwed up John Meadows' prep for her on that one by giving her a diuretic. So that night we went to Dirty Taco to go party, hang out, eat, whatever. And then she decided to spend the night in my hotel room. Obviously one thing led to another again. And, you know, we banged like rabbits for the entire night, probably for like 9 hours, to be perfectly honest. And then the next day she went back. The next day she called me, and her sister and Colin had gotten in a fight. I guess her sister got blackout drunk and attacked Colin and tried saying Colin attacked her or some bullshit. But I think it was all blackout bullshit. Nothing actually really happened between the two of them. I think it was just a slight overreaction. But I heard about that whole thing. So she went back. She went back to Wichita. We started talking every day again because she was still in residency. And then the one day she asked me, she's like, hey, will you go to Milwaukee with me? And I'm like, for what? And she's like, I was wondering if you would pique me for Milwaukee. And I was like, are you fucking serious right now? She's like, well, you piqued me for Nationals when Tom disappeared. So would you pique me for Milwaukee? I was actually planning on doing the Miami show myself. So I was like, let me get back to you. Because I was kind of pissed off about the whole situation where she just kind of disappeared and then came back. And I was like, whatever. So I thought about it, I called her like a day later, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to Milwaukee, but you have to pay for everything. I'm not paying for anything. So she paid for everything for me to be there. I spent 5 days with her. I picked her from Milwaukee. Obviously, we had sex the entire time. I post pictures up of us being in bed together. I post pictures of me being in her bed. I post pictures of all kinds of things from Milwaukee. And she got second and qualified for the Olympia, thanks to me. And of course, John still got the shout out, but I really didn't care so much because I respect John, and John still was her coach, and John did everything leading up to that show. I was just there for the peak. That's going to be story one. We'll go from there, but hopefully this clears some things up for some people so I can clear up my Instagram so I don't look so unhinged. Dude, I'm totally not unhinged, people. I'm tired. I've been beat up. I've been mentally abused by all of this. She keeps crying about her mental health. Yo, you chose to do that shit to your ass and go on front of everyone's stage. No one cares about your mental health. They care about the fact that you're a fraud now. Okay? How about the shit you did to me and my mental health? Anyway, part 2 in a second.